What up, everybody? It's your man Dame D NYDC. Hey, we back. It's two mics up. It's been a minute. We've been on a little hiatus from season 8, having a little fun hanging out here in between, four-time award-winning show and talking about award winning is exactly what we're doing here tonight. We're taking on an all new Parham Perspective. So you stay tuned. While you're sitting there and watching, I see some people joining us. Go ahead, jump in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. We want to hear from you as we dive into this perspective tonight because we are going to be blessed and graced with a multi-talented, multifaceted brother. And I love this when I get to see people who look like me doing this type of work, man. And we're going to talk about it. This gentleman, Ronnel Ricardo Parham, he's a filmmaker, writer, producer, multi-award winning actor and director. Now, can y'all put that all together in a sandwich? Man, it sounds real good, doesn't it? Right. So, he's doing big work and he's also, the founder of 5R Productions, his own production company, man. And this is really huge in today's space. So without me continuing to spill and bigging him up, we're going to bring tonight's guest to the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, put your hands together for this immaculate brother, Ronnel Ricardo Parham. Ronnel, how you doing this evening, brother?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Yes,
Appreciate you
sir.
having me on. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm great, man. Like I said, I'm excited. Just by the fact, I have another gentleman who looks like me, who's bringing talent to life for us to see and experience. And I always like to start at the beginning, Ronnell, because that's really where it all starts. So take a moment and give us some background as to who Ronnel Ricardo Parham is and where he's from and what inspired you to really get into the entertainment industry.
Sure. So, who is Ronnel Ricardo Parham? I am the son of Diane Parham and Ronald Crawley, both of them from West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, I am 100% a product of West Philly. Um, I have four other siblings. All five of our names begin with the letter R.
Wow.
Um, grew up in the inner city, but I also went to school in a district called Lower Marion. Some people in the chat or some people out there might be familiar with that school district. That same school district that Kobe Bryant went to school in, and
Wow.
he went. Yeah, I think like the later parts of elementary school, and then middle school, and then of course high school at Lower Marion. So, um, what a lot of people don't know is Lower Marion School District. It kind of has it's like two different sides of the district, like two sets of schools, kind of depending on what part of the entire district that you lived in. So I actually lived in the part of the district that went to the opposite schools of Kobe. So I didn't necessarily go to Kobe's high school and middle school, but I went to like the rival middle school, or like the rival high school. So that's kind of my beginnings, just where I grew up. I partly grew up in North Carolina as well, um, and I come from very humble beginnings. I mean, I speak very often about my childhood and things that have happened to me. As you get older in life, you accept things that have happened to you. You try not to, um, hold grudges or be mad at
Yeah.
the world or mad how things turned out. I was homeless three different times in my teenage years.
Wow.
So before the age of 16, yeah, I was homeless on three different occasions, and this could mean sleeping in cars and in schoolyards after dark. It could mean just sleeping in cars just on dark streets, or just kind of streets where we wouldn't really stand out. Um, staying in numerous different or numerous family members' houses and spare rooms. Or, but I was really blessed to have a best friend growing up since the fourth grade. His name is Peter Bernstein, and his family was nice enough to invite me into their home, and I actually lived with them on and off, but for majority of almost like 2 years. So in a way, they really kind of saved me um, as a teenager from like still going to school in that school district and then going back to a home in that school district, because
Wow.
it's quite the dichotomy to go to school around rich kids, rich Jewish kids, and then to go back to the inner city of West Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
a lot of odd man out, which I'm sure we'll get
Mm,
into,
yeah.
really taps into that, and that's a lot of the background of odd man out and why Charles is who he is at that stage of life, and when we get in that. So yeah, those are kind of my beginnings, and
Wow.
humble beginnings, as I say. But I learned a lot from a young age. I saw a lot at a young age. I had to grow up really, really fast, and
I bet.
I'm not mad at anything. I'm not mad at the world, not one bit.
I love that because so many people can get turned off. Very, like a story like that. We probably know a lot of people who were turned off, disenfranchised just from socializing and trying to improve in life. And you seem like you just took that all in, and really used that to maybe, if I can say, help really hone in and really focus yourself early on the beginnings of laying the blueprint, it sounds like, to where we get to odd man out. And is that a fair assessment to say, that really you kind of kept a book, if you will, or recordings of things to kind of help formulate later on down the road?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had to grow up really, really fast. I mean, as I can remember, as young as 13 years old, just thinking about working and making my own money and figuring out ways to make money to help out my mom, help out my dad, or help out, whatever kind of household wherever I was at that time. Um, so I just remember vividly, I had to stop doing a lot of things in high school. I played basketball in high school. I was really good at basketball. I played the drums. Those are kind of two things that I think if I really would have like focused on either one of those things, I could have went to college to kind of
Mhm.
play or do those things. So my life would have been tremendously different than where we are right now.
Right.
But I stopped everything. As soon as I turned 16 years old, I went up to CVS around the corner and got a job. And I remember vividly, the end of the third year, my senior year, my situation was different. I was excited to get out of school so that I can go work, so that I can go have my own money,
Wow.
so that I can go
Wow.
get a cell phone, so that I can go get my own clothes,
Right.
so that I can go
Right.
buy my own earrings.
Wow.
So if my mom needed help paying for the cable bill or something, or if she needed help paying for the lights that month, like, yeah, I got some extra money to help us. Um, so just, yeah, those experiences, and again, just kind of growing up real quickly, it really it lit this fuel for me, it lit this fire for
Yeah.
me, that it's hard to really talk about. Like it's hard to really kind of put into words. Like my main motivation is not to be poor anymore. Like my
Mm.
main
I hear that.
motivation is to not go and go throughout life, my entire life, having to do without. When I was a
Mm.
kid, I couldn't change those circumstances. I was just a
Right.
part of what was going on. So I made a
Right.
vow to myself that as soon as I was able enough and old enough, you got to be 16. I don't know what it is now. I think it's probably still 16. You got to be 16 to go get a a job that pays you hourly, W-4, I-9.
Right.
Um, but I just remember internally just vowing to myself like 13, 14, 15, like as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to go make my own money. I'm going to go make my own moves. um this kid stuff is over with. Like this is just what it is right now. Like, and I was really happy that it happened that way. Of
Right.
course, that I want certain things growing up, that I want a consistent home, that I want to not have to worry about things that so many kids just took for granted. But it just taught me it taught me a lot about life, and then that
Mm,
transitioned me into being an adult. By the time I was 21, 20 years old, my kids are really coming into their own and
right.
thinking about supporting themselves and going to college and how am I going to do this? And the real world is coming at them. I'm like, man, like I've been on the grind since I was 15 and a half years old, 16 years old. So
Wow.
it allowed me to experience things sooner in life that just prepared me more to be, just to be prepared for a lot of things that life throws at you as an adult. And I think in a way, it's really helped me become a leader in life. Like
Mm,
I've always, um, I guess people kind of frame it now as like this visionary
yeah.
mindset where I just always saw things two steps down the road. Like I was always people in my mind, people were playing checkers. Like I was playing chess
Playing
with
chess.
my
Yeah.
moves that I was making. Yeah, with the moves that I was making and things that I envisioned for myself down the road. So
Mm,
I remember vividly being late teens, early 20s, having a hard time in college, like talking to people, hanging out with, or connecting with people in my family or connecting about certain things. Like I just wasn't thinking about that stuff. I'm not trying to follow the herd and rock the same clothes, rock the same sneakers and the same hats and the jerseys and,
right.
all that stuff. Like I was 17, 18 years old thinking about living in California. Like, how am I going to make that
Right.
happen one day?
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's what I was thinking about. So,
I love that. And we fast forward to that and kind of look at your work really, because looking into your breadth of work, it sounds like that really played a part in, like, you converted a web series into a television series. Now, not only did you do that, but from what I recall, you even obtained distribution with top streamers. That's kind of, man, that's almost unheard of, really, early on when you first start just kind of coming out the gate like that. So, can you
yeah.
elaborate maybe on, maybe some of the most significant challenges that you face, making that transition? And is there anything specific? Because, for those who may be content creators or writers or looking to get into the entertainment industry in this manner, any advice that you could offer, other independent creators aiming to do something similar to what you've done?
Yeah, for sure. So, I got into the independent world of filmmaking really out of necessity, and I would implore everybody watching who is in the position that I was, meaning I didn't grow up acting. I didn't grow up in the entertainment business. Like I never even thought about it. Like this is no lie, and I'm not just saying this because it sounds good. And now that I'm a little bit older in my life, I can look back and like it really sounds good with me saying it now. But I never once thought about doing this stuff. I didn't think about
Mm,
even acting until I was 19 years old. I had um, did my freshman year of college at Cheney University, and I didn't want to go back to Cheney. I was on this elementary. I was on the scholarship to be an elementary school teacher, and I had an opportunity at the time to go to college and leave college without debt. And something in my heart was like, this program isn't for me. This school isn't for me. Like lots of love to Cheney. Three of my siblings went to Cheney and graduated from there. It's the first HBCU. Lots of love there, but I knew that that wasn't the place for me. And again, I kind of go back to like it was my intuition. It was just like this vision that I had where I knew that there was something around the corner for me. I knew that there was something else, out there for me. So I quit that program and I left the school. Everybody cussed me out. My mom cussed me out. My advisor cussed me out.
mhm.
My siblings couldn't understand it. Nobody at Cheney. How are you going to, you have this opportunity to be in this program and be an elementary school teacher and graduate college without debt. And I was just like, I get it, but college is a short period. Like I want to go somewhere and do something where like I'm really chasing my dreams. And at the time, I didn't even know what my dreams were. So, long story short, that next year, I tried to go to Temple. That next semester, I tried to go to Temple University. At
Mhm.
the last second, I couldn't really afford to go to Temple University. Temple's in Philly, and I couldn't afford to go to Temple. Like, isn't that crazy? Um, so I had to take that semester off. So long story short, within that semester, I went down to a talent agency and I was like, yeah, I want to model. I think I can model. I think I can do this. I think I can do that. And this talent agent looked at me and she'd been in the game for a minute. And she's like, oh, yeah, you think you can do this? Because like so many people come in there thinking with no experience, they think that they can do this, right? I want to model and I want to do this. She's like, yeah, you should really think about like doing commercials. Like, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. But like, I still want to. Like, are you still going to sign me like as a model? She's like, okay, I'll put you on my roster. But what you should do, you should think about going to this commercial class. Um, it's being taught by my friend at Temple University. How about that? How ironic. Um, so I went down there, and this was a 6-week course. And by the second week, literally my first time looking at a script, memorizing a script, seeing myself on camera, getting coaching, getting it down, and then seeing it on camera, and then seeing the notes, and then seeing myself getting better at it, or not necessarily better, but just becoming more true at it. It's
Right.
Acting isn't a world of being better or good. Acting is about being true or false. So I started seeing myself like just getting better at this. But either way, I locked into it. So the second week of that program or that class, I was like, Mom, I want to be an actor. And she played me. She was like, Ronnel, I don't see it. I don't see it. You need to get your butt back in school. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go to school, but I'm going to go study acting. So I studied theater at Westchester University. Now, fast forward, I give you guys all that context because I spent probably the first 7 years. That was about 2010. I spent the first 7 years of my life just in actor mode, off Broadway plays. Living in New York, living in a little room in New York in a crappy apartment when I was 22 years old, and my mom and Pete and my brothers came up to help me move in, and they were embarrassed. They were so embarrassed for me, and I said, "What are y'all embarrassed for? What are y'all sad for? Like, I'm in New York City. I'm about to chase my dreams. Like, I'm lit right now. Like, I was so excited." And I was just like, oh, okay, like they'll see down the road, like this was the best move for me. I kind of go back to like that intuition that I had. So again, 7 years down the line, I'm like, you know what? I feel stuck as an actor. And I'm sure everybody, even A-listers, feel stuck,
Right.
at certain points in their careers. So, but it's particularly tough for people, really trying to find their lane in the acting business and find what it is that the roles that they go out for, the roles that they keep getting called in for. Do you want to focus on that? Do you want to be typecast? Do you want to, be very specific about the projects that you pick? Do you want to, open yourself up so you don't get typecast and things? But I felt very stuck in 2017. And I made the decision. I worked on a buddy of mine. He came to me with a short film.
All right. Look like we've had a minor technical issue with Ronnel's connection. I apologize. We're gonna wait a second and you know give him a second to go ahead and rejoin the conversation. I thank you all for being here. I want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors over at 94 Media House for allowing us to bring you tonight's live conversation with Ronnel. And if you're a small business owner in need of digital design services, please reach out to 94 Media House. They are bold, they're live, they're giving you all the energy. They're our own design media company here. Everything behind Two Mics Up that you see in our social media, our newsletters, and everything. That's what 94 Media House brings. I cannot say enough about how proud I am and how honored I am to be a part of their company and to have them bring us to you each and every week. And it looks like Ronnel has rejoined us. And
Okay.
hey, no problem, man. Gremlins are working tonight, but it's not going to stop us. We're going to
No.
keep on keeping on because the devil stay busy, and we're not going to allow him to win. But as you were saying, living in your apartment in New York and making those moves and that transition, please continue on with that, because that was really a a great part, because so many people get lost in the sauce and think that stardom happens overnight. But you were
Yeah,
putting in the work. So please continue.
for sure. Thank you for that. Yeah, so around 2017, a buddy he came to me and mentioned that he had a short film that he wrote and he was producing, but he needed, a little bit extra money to help him produce it. So I was like, okay, cool. So like, what would be expected of me? And at the time, I never produced anything. So I was like,
Mm,
I spent the last 7 years just in actor mode, like 100% just in actor mode. So now, like, my mind was opening up to things. I was, kind of mind blown for people coming to me to produce things and what does that entail. So I did my research and I did everything to try and be prepared for this. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to write you into the project as well. So I was like, I'm like, oh, okay. So if you bring money to projects,
mm,
you can act in them and you can produce them. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So
right,
we got the project in motion, and I just remember it was a 2 day shoot, and it was me, him, and the director. So really, only two producers, a short film, two producers, and then
right,
a director. And I was on a call sheet as a producer, and people, I guess, they knew who I was at that moment. So um, people just started responding to me differently. People started looking at me differently on set, and I was like, oh, this is again, I've never experienced this. I've only experienced being on a set as an actor or being on a
right,
stage as an actor. Like I didn't know the power that comes
mm,
with the ability to do something. So,
right,
that was a great experience that in a 2 day shoot, I was like, wow. And then the
wow,
director is doing takes and he's coming from the other room, like coming to me and my buddy asking us. So I'm like, yeah, what did you guys think of that? Like, Ronnel, what did you think of that? Like, are we
mm,
are we good to move on? Like, or should we shoot it again? And then my buddy
right,
would look at me and we were both kind of learning in this moment, like, okay, like everybody's looking to us for final approval.
wow,
Like this is his project. Don't get me wrong, but like, they were really looking at us to like, can we move on? Like, what do you guys
right,
think? Or do you think he should do it this way? So that really just kind of opened my mind up to a ton of different things. And then from
wow,
there, I was like, that was the push that I needed because up until that point, like the last few years, I was thinking to myself all the time, I'm like, man, I'm doing all these auditions, I'm doing these characters, I'm playing all these different people. Why don't I play myself in something?
mm,
Like
okay,
how real would that be? Like how
okay,
cool would that be? And I can write it from my perspective. So I was
right,
like, over those last few years, I'm like, yeah, it would be cool to do my own show one day. And I just kind of
yep,
sat on it. And then when we did that short film and I left out of there, and I was like, dang, and then the editing process, and they're coming to my buddy and me for the editing, and we have final approval. So I'm like, all right, this is
wow,
what I need. That was the push that I needed to go create my own show. So I
I
remember,
love that.
yeah, I think it was somewhere. I think it was the summertime of
Hmm,
2017. I remember sitting in my bed at the time, and I was on my notes app
hmm,
on my iPhone, and I was just coming up with these ideas, like talk about my life, show, let's do this. But I'm like, I didn't want to do a film. I didn't want to just jump right into a feature. So
right,
I figured let's do a TV series. And at the time, web series were very, very popular. I mean, they
hmm,
still are, but like now things are like an even shorter content. You got
yeah,
these TikToks and these minute long, these vertical shorts now. But at that time, um, like 5 minute episodes were like really, really popular. And they were,
right,
a lot of filmmakers were getting their stuff on Amazon Prime. And I was like, whoa, Amazon Prime is blowing up. Like
mm,
I could potentially create my own show and maybe get it to Amazon Prime that has millions and
right,
millions of subscribers. So I just remember sitting in my bed, going through or in my notes section, and just coming up with ideas, how I want to do this, how I want to do that. And I just remember vividly one day or one night, I was just typing, and then I scrolled to the top of it, and it just hit me. And I put at the top, "Odd Man Out," and then from there, the title was born, and then I started
wow,
structuring it, and
wow,
then I brought some other creators in that were like, send me the script, let me, because again, all of this stuff is new. Writing was new to me. Producing was new. I didn't go to film school. I studied theater, but I guess to give you some context as well. I minored in theater. I have a master's degree in criminal justice, so I did not go to school. I didn't
Total
know those were
opposite.
schools. Like, yeah, like
Total
I wasn't some
opposite.
thespian, right? I wasn't some thespian in school. Like I went to undergrad and I minored in criminal justice and I minored in theater. And in between those times, like I would be going from Westchester up to New York for acting class, or I would be going from
Oh,
Westchester to New York just to make an audition. So I'd be on a bus for 2.5 hours, sometimes
yeah,
3 hours,
man.
just to go to an audition
That's a little
for
height.
Law and Order, and then come back to Westchester and just go to school and be a regular student. So that's where Odd Man Out was born, and it really just came from being stuck as an actor and wanting to take control of my career. And
Okay.
it's not easy. I mean, it's
Oh,
certainly not easy. I mean, I put up my own money
wow.
to get this process going. Even
Hmm.
back then, I had a couple people between the first season of my web series to the second season of my web series. I had a couple people come in and help me out with 5,000 here, 1,000, or excuse me, 500 here, 1,000 here. But at least those web series episodes, 90% of that was out of my pocket. Now the next 7 episodes, full length, um, that was all me. Like that,
Wow.
I didn't have any financial help. I directed it. Excuse me. I wrote it. I produced it. Lead actor in it. I cast it.
Wow.
I did the music supervision in it. So
Wow.
I'm well in 6 figures to create my own content. But look at what it's done for me. Like,
Yeah,
so
man. That's part.
for everybody watching, like, treat your web series, your short film, your feature film, treat that. Like you look at any business on Shark Tank, you look at any startup, you look at any business in
Mm,
any sector. They put up their own money or they
right.
crowdfunded and asked people for money. But like, look at your film just like it's another business.
That's
You're
right.
going to have to put blood, sweat, and tears into it. You're going to, at some point, you're going to have to put up your own money. Even if you get money from other people, you still going to have to put up your own money for
Yeah. Yeah.
licensing, copywriting, so many
Yep.
different fees, as I'm sure you can attest to when setting
Yep.
up, your number of programs. Like,
Yep.
it's great to get grants from people and to get loans and funding, but like at some point you want to put up your
Yeah.
own money, and
That's for
at
sure.
some point you should want to put up your own money because
That
you
part.
putting up your own money, right? You putting up your own money truly makes you your own boss.
That part. I couldn't agree with you more on that. I think a lot of times, people and I believe people see the end result, right? They see the glitz, the glamour, and they think that's how. Oh, you didn't really do much behind the scenes, or to prepare, or to write, or have to reach out to people to make sure that what you're talking about is actually correct, even though it may be your own experience. Sometimes you want to maybe get it right for the masses, because we all sometimes only see through one lens, especially in today's world. We have this tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
that goes behind it. And you talk about all of these pieces, and it's just amazing to me, like, even think about it, and you just spoke on it, the 7 additional episodes, as I understand, you shot it in Atlanta, if I'm correct, right? And
Correct.
it
Correct.
what made this an ideal location? Because I there's so many places, and understanding where you come from and your background, but what made
Mm-hmm.
ATL so special in these additional 7 episodes, to really, I guess, not to say kick it over the top, but really bring that extra dimension, I guess, if you will, for it to be able to kind of move into that phase of production. And what was the impact, really, I think, too, for the show's development? Because I think there was a little, like, to me, there was an impact. There was a little change, a little shift. And I'm interested to hear from
Mm-hmm.
you, like, what was the importance of that in those 7 episodes?
Yeah. Well, Odd Man Out is very autobiographical. It touches on things that have happened in my life, and it's
Hmm.
all original. It's all my content. It's all original. These characters, these storylines, these things come from my brain. I haven't the characters that I used in these aren't actual, like, other people's names and things. So like it's all original um intellectual property from myself. But I mean, these are things that have happened truly in my life. I mean,
Mm,
the change that happened. Odd Man Out was, or the web series episodes, and I'll touch as well on how we got from web series to TV series. But the web series version of it was shot here in Los Angeles. So I moved back to Los Angeles last September, so I'm in Los Angeles right now. But
Okay.
we shot the web series in LA, San Fernando Valley.
Hmm.
I left Los Angeles in 2019. I went back to New York for a number of reasons, but I really, I've been out on the West Coast for almost 7 years. I wanted to be back around my family, wanted to be closer to my mom. Like on average, over the last 7, 8 years, I've seen my family twice a year, and that's
Hmm.
a good year because, again, struggling actor, broke actor, just thinking in actor mode. I had no money to travel the way that I wanted to travel, so I really had to
Right.
pick and choose when I could even go back and see my own family. So, but I went to New York. So I actually lived in New York throughout COVID.
Mm.
Like the worst place in
Okay.
the country, maybe in the world, was where I was during COVID. But
Mm.
I left New York after a year and a half, and then I moved to Atlanta. So
Okay.
my intentions of moving to Atlanta was like, oh, okay, in the back of my mind, I was like, one day I'm going to get back to California. I just don't know
Right.
when that's going to be. But I'm
Right.
moving to Atlanta right now with the intentions of potentially setting up like that next phase of my life, possibly
Okay.
buying a home
Okay.
and doing those things. And the focus is still on acting, still on creating, but it's California, Los Angeles is a tough place for you to really uh, get out the mud and really stand
Hmm.
on your own too and do everything that you want to do out here. So the transition in Odd Man Out from Los Angeles to Atlanta, to specifically answer your question, happened because I that was the change in my life. I
Mm.
went
Okay.
from LA and then I ended up in Atlanta.
Hmm.
But the storyline, and not to give away too much of it, because I would love everybody and then
That's right.
Extreme Odd Man Out, these next seven
That's right.
episodes when we get those up. And but Charles kind of gets back to his roots. So something happens in his
Mm.
life that causes him to just snap of a finger leave LA. I mean, he had been leading up to the point of, I'm
Yeah.
losing myself out here. I'm fading away from who I was and who I was raised to be, and that's what happens to a lot of people in this city. Like
Yeah.
this city
That's
will
right.
change you. Any big city. I don't want to just single out Los
Right.
Angeles. Like I love this city dearly. Like this is truly a second home to me. But if you don't come out here with financial backing, whether that's from yourself or if you're lucky enough to
Hmm.
have a partner or you're lucky enough to have family, or if you don't come out here with the right morals and the right integrity, like this city will eat you
Yeah.
up,
Chew you
and
up.
you will
Yeah.
be on a one-way flight back to wherever the hell it is you came from. And
No, that's
and I've
right.
seen that happen so many times. So that was kind of the reason for the change in going to Atlanta. Now, shooting in Atlanta, I was so happy to do that. Just from an indie perspective, it's because number one, too. I think it's good to put it in context. The only true like film city, in my
Hmm.
opinion, is Los Angeles. New
Mm.
York is New York. Number one has five boroughs, five big boroughs. So there's one borough in New York that has acting and entertainment. Like it's
Yep.
Manhattan. I mean, Queens
Right.
Queens has Steiner Studios and like a couple other places. Um, and I think Brooklyn has a couple sound stages out there too. But like the main borough,
It's
right,
Manhattan.
right,
Manhattan. Hmm.
exactly, is Manhattan. Now,
Hmm.
when you go to Atlanta, Atlanta is not a film city. Like
Hmm.
there is this illusion that Atlanta is like this film state. It's this entertainment state. It's this.
Hmm.
Yes, that in the statistics of film, yes, Georgia is continuing to be number one with production shot.
Right.
Georgia is a big state. There are
Right.
many different sectors, there are many different industries, there are many different businesses going on in Georgia.
Right.
And a lot of people like, and I can say this because I've been there for 3 years. Like when you really get to Atlanta and you really settle in, and this is no slight against Atlanta. Like Atlanta's dope. Atlanta is the best place to be in the southeast,
Agreed.
without a doubt. And
Agreed.
that's just it in the business. You
All
can
right.
definitely move down there and find a home and start a family and do all of those wonderful things. But I think it's important for people, at least for my opinion, to kind of give my advice, where it's like Atlanta isn't necessarily like, again, it's not really this film city. Like, there are so many other things that are going on in Atlanta, and then on top of that, there are so many people in Atlanta who aren't working. There's so many
Wow.
people in Atlanta
Wow.
who, yes, there are so many movies coming in, and then they have a number of stages. There are sound studios, stages, in Atlanta and down in South Atlanta. But you got to think, like, the top people in the business are going to shoot those projects. Like, I hate to just kind of put it in black and white for people,
That's a very good
but
point, though.
you know, yeah, I mean, these people are coming in. Some of them live there, most of them
Yeah,
don't. These people are coming in, they're shooting these projects, and then they're going back to wherever it
back
is that
home.
they live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're seeing it now, where I think it's something came out last week where Marvel has, like, officially, they put out like a full press release on, like, they relocated.
Yeah.
Some articles had it wrong. They actually relocated to back to the UK. I
The
think one of them
UK.
said
Mm-hmm.
Ireland or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they have totally moved out of, what's that studio down there? I forget the name. I'm blanking right now. But they had totally moved all of their stuff out of there. And if you kind of remember, like, that was a huge boost
Yes, it
for
was.
Atlanta. Like, that's why a
Yes,
lot
it
of
was.
people moved down there,
Yes, it was.
because Marvel was shooting down there and all these projects were shooting, and they were basing themselves down there. But I
Yeah.
say all that because, the fact that I think some people move to Atlanta just with not necessarily the wrong intentions, but maybe they've just been a little, like, ill advised.
I was just
One
saying.
thing I'm not
Yeah.
going to do, right? One thing I'm not going to do is I'm going to keep it 100 with people, and I'm not going to advise you. I mean, I honestly, I can't advise you. I could just give you my perspectives on it, and then you can kind of take it and do with it what you like. But um, I do think Atlanta's a great place for indie film. And I wish more people would be shooting indie film in Atlanta, because it is not very hard. I mean, it's all challenging, but it's not very hard to try and get locations. Um, what's it? Georgia is a right to work, or whatever the phrase is, a right to work state.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you can pay people, unfortunately slash fortunately for you, you can pay people a lot less than you would have to pay
Yep.
them in New York
Yep. Yep.
and California.
Yep.
Atlanta is kind of like a centerpiece in the southeast. So, and I'm speaking from experience. So you can have actors come in from North Carolina. You can have actors come in from Florida. You can have actors come in from New Orleans, from
Right.
Tennessee, and
Right.
it's like not a huge kind of trip for them. Like, they're able
No.
to kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there were so many advantages for me to shoot 7 half-hour to 40-minute episodes in Atlanta, and
Wow. Wow.
it worked out really well, because if I would have done that in LA, number one, my budget just would have probably doubled or tripled, and it
Triple.
would
Yeah.
have, right, and it would have just taken me longer to do it. I was in a position where I was blessed enough to take my time and shoot these next 7 episodes.
Mm.
Anybody who worked with me, during that little over 13 months that we shot these last 7 episodes,
Right.
like, I was taking my time doing this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, our shoot days were hectic, because, I had to schedule anywhere between 10 to 25 people to be on set at
Wow.
one time. Like,
Wow.
that is a hard thing to
Yeah.
do. I don't
A
think
lot of moving
people,
pieces.
yeah, I don't even think people realize just how hard that is. Because, like, these
Mm-hmm.
are working actors. I'm super proud to have had so many series regulars, big guest star actors
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on my show from
That's right.
LA, from
That's
Atlanta,
right.
from New York. And it is hard trying to get them, trying to get a DP, trying to get a sound person, trying to get background, trying to get PAs, trying to get all
Oh,
these people's schedules
whew.
to come together. But
Yeah.
again, I will say this was another advantage to shooting in Atlanta, because I do feel, in a
Yeah.
way, I feel like people are a little bit hungrier in Atlanta versus LA and New
Right.
York.
Again, you're just talking
Yeah,
about the pay scale alone. And then just too, I think the southern hospitality and the mentality
yeah,
sometimes is definitely
yeah,
different than LA versus, or New York, to that degree. And you put a lot of work into that and now to really see yourself start blossoming and really starting to put your stamp on things, and you mentioned earlier, about your siblings. I want to touch on, and let you talk about, your productions, 5R Productions, man. And like you said, being named after yourself and your siblings, like, and all starting with R. Like, how does this personal connection? Because to me, I just feel like listening to you and going through this journey, there's a symbiosis or a connection to everything, and it's
Right.
almost purposeful, right? So
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
that connection and influence like, for you, not only just in Odd Man Out, but in some of your other stories that we're also going to talk about. Um, how does that really combine? Because I feel like there's an overall mission that maybe is in the message somewhere that I feel is important that people should pay attention to, because that's really also an extension of you as well that we're seeing in your work. So talk about your studios and
Yeah.
your production studio.
No, I appreciate that, and thank you for making that connection and kind of seeing that because it's all interconnected.
Mm,
The mission of my production company is telling stories that represent the underrepresented. So that's number
mm,
one.
mm,
That's kind of the underlying theme of any story that I personally do, or any story that I try and touch, or stories that people bring to me, and I can try and help them get it to the places that it needs to be. 5R Productions is truly a way for me to honor my siblings, for me to honor my mom, honor my dad, but for me to honor my siblings and everything that we went through. Like the
mm,
fact that it's five of us, and we're so strong, and nothing can break us. We've been through things like, that five siblings should not go through. And we're still together. We're still going strong, and some of them
yeah.
are procreating and recreating, and they got babies and they got kids, and that's fantastic. But that's primarily what I was thinking about in doing 5R Productions. Number one, it's just so unique to have siblings that we all have. Our names begin with the same letter, and as I got older in life, I started to appreciate that. Or older in my teen years, should I say, I started to appreciate that, and what my mom did, because our dad didn't have any say in it. She named us. He didn't. She was, she was a boss in her own way, in many ways, and she taught me a lot. She put me on a lot of game, and she put me on a lot of game that I realized later on in my life, when she would tell me things when I would be
Mhm.
10, 11, 14,
Right.
15. Um, so I just figured, honoring, the five R's, and paying tribute to the number of things that we went through as
I love
kids and
that.
teenagers, and seeing where we are now with everybody graduating college, and my sister's a doctor, and my one of
I
my
love
brothers,
that.
but Rudy has a master's, and everybody else has bachelors, and so that's everything is connected. Everything that I do it with my family in mind, and I do it to represent my family in the best way that I can on any stage that I've been on, any stage that I get to, because I know the struggle, I know what we've came from, and I know where we are now. So
Mm,
if I have an opportunity to highlight our story and continue to push it to the next level and the next level, I'm going to highlight that, because the fact that I was given four other siblings is such a gift.
yeah.
Um, and then the fact that we all of our names begin with the letter R is just super unique. So it's really, really a tribute to my mom and my siblings, just the grind. But, um, all of the stories that I create are definitely in connection with our vision, which is
Mm.
telling stories that represent the underrepresented.
I love that. That's really powerful. And now I want to combine the last two questions and really look towards the future and aspirations, with Odd Man Out, 5R Productions. Like, where do you see and envision,
Well,
you
Damon,
know,
well, Damon, can I touch on real quick? Can I just share with the audience how we got from web series to TV series? Because I'm sure they might
please,
be like,
please.
this is just another Instagram, this is just another live where nobody's telling us the real deal. And I have been there. I can't even tell you how many things I have workshops and events that I've been to, and that one burning question, how did you do it, or how did you do this? People don't want to tell you that, and it's something that just it ticks me off, and that's a nice way of me saying it. So
Okay.
I'm in a position where I'm going to keep it 100 with people. So in a quick 30-second version, what happened was we had the web series episodes. It was on Amazon Prime. Boom, it was winning awards left and right, just killing it, just giving me the confidence that I needed. Like, I'm a good writer. I'm a good producer. I'm a good actor. Like, I'm a great actor, and I can lead a show. Boom, that's great. I'm getting all these awards. Validation is great. Got on Amazon Prime, which was literally my only goal when I did the web series. My goal wasn't to make money off of it. My goal was to fully produce something. The first thing, well, kind of the second thing, is that short film that I was telling you about that we first did. We put that under 5R Productions as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the first thing that kind of came from me, I'm like, I want to do this right. And then boom, first thing, winning a bunch of awards. It gets on Amazon Prime. So I'm like, all right, bet. Like, this is, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with this show.
Okay. All right.
So, this is probably like 2019, 2020, into 2021. I'm starting to see this thing called Tubi popping up, right? Like, Tubi is they're right. They're coming the next wave of like where people can submit their stuff.
Yep.
So, once Odd Man Out was on Amazon, again, I'm always thinking outside the box, always thinking, kind of 2 steps ahead, thinking this way, thinking that way. I'm thinking, like, what else can I do with this show? Because I never stopped writing Odd Man Out. Even the web series stuff, like, I always kept developing it. I always had storylines in my head. I would just write scripts on it and then just leave it on my laptop. I would go in Writers Duet. That's a writer's program out there for people that don't necessarily want to pay the price for Final Draft. Look up Writers Duet. It's a fabulous screenwriting software that is really cheap. It's like $9 a month. I think it's like $60 for the year. So I would just write all these scripts and just kind of leave them on my laptop. But I was just like, okay, let me figure out what else I can do with this show. So Dame Dash, who's a mentor of mine, I have a lot of respect for him. He had his studio at the time, Dame Dash Studios. Come to our studios, we'll help distribute your show. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me submit Odd Man Out to Dame Dash. Said they're looking for web series and short films and features. Okay. Took me 3 times. It took me almost 2.5 years of submitting. 3 times before any of them got back to me. So Dame Dash and his head of acquisitions at the time, Omar Segaldo, got with me. Ronnel, I like the show. Let's talk. I got some things that we should talk about. I'm like, he's like a New York guy with like his New York accent. I'm like, all right, cool. So we got to talking, and he's like, we started connecting with Tubi, and Tubi has been telling us that they don't really want stuff that's in the web series format anymore. They really are looking for half-hour TV. So that's going to be the next wave of indie filmmaking, like half-hour TV. Like, we're seeing a big push in that. And he's like, what we should do is we should cut together your episodes, your mini episodes, and we should put those into half-hour episodes. And I was like, damn, like, I didn't even know that was possible. Like, he kind of blew my mind with that. I'm like, you think that's possible? Like, he's like, yeah, you got to go back and re-edit it, of course. But, I think we can put your episodes together and, we can possibly submit it to Tubi. So I'm like, all right. I went back to one of my editors. I had to drop off all of my drives. So we reformatted it. And at the end of every episode where it was the credits, just turned into an ad break on Tubi.
Yeah.
So boom, we got on Tubi. We got on Tubi pretty quickly because he was true to his word. If we get it in episodic content or if we get it in half-hour mode, I'm gonna get it on Tubi.
Right.
Boom. He was right. Dame was right. I'm like, all right, cool. So it was on Tubi. I'm like, all right, this is great. There's another platform, another level for me. Probably a year later, I get an email from Omar. Peacock has picked up your show. I'm like, honestly, I didn't even like read the email immediately because like I thought he probably meant like, let's talk about getting your show on Peacock. Let's figure it out. So like it didn't really piece together for me that like he
look at that.
really meant he literally meant Peacock picked up your show. So I'm like, I look at the email and I'm like, oh, Peacock. He's like, congratulations, Peacock
Wow,
liked
look
your
at
show.
that.
What we need from you is this. We need to license this, and we need to send you all these agreements, and you need to have your lawyer look at it. And I'm like, damn. So like a couple of weeks later,
Wow.
I'm like, oh my, I submitted everything. I'm like, Omar, is this for real? Like, is this like don't just He's like,
Right.
nah, this is going to
Don't
be
play with
on
me, man.
Peacock.
Don't play with me, dog. Don't play with me.
So a month later, a month when we submitted everything to Peacock, a month later it got on Peacock. It aired on Peacock. That was July of 2022, and it has been
Wow.
up until recently. So it got taken down. I think the license expired. So I'll backtrack really quickly. So I came under the umbrella of Dame Dash Studios and Homestead Entertainment. So at the
Okay, that's
time,
what's up.
Omar was working. He was working for Dame Dash Studios. So my distributors were Dame Dash Studios and then Homestead Entertainment. Dame
Okay.
went off and did his own thing. He has his own network. So my current distributor for my first two episodes is still Homestead Entertainment.
Okay.
Um, and their license looks like their license expired on Peacock like a few weeks ago. So it
Okay.
is extremely, and I'm not saying this to brag, it is extremely hard to get on Peacock. Peacock really does not do any type of content that isn't associated with a studio or a huge
Right.
huge production company or something like that. So
Right.
I've been blessed enough if the show gets back on Peacock, which I think it
Amen.
will. But I know people
Amen to
might go
that.
running
That.
to Peacock right now and type in Iron
Right.
Man out, right?
Right.
And they don't see it. But it's been on Peacock for well over since 2022, so
Wow.
little over 3 years. So I have that to my name. It's fantastic. So I hope the audience's questions about how did he take this web series that cost him $2,000 to shoot the first season, and how did he get it fully distributed on Peacock, Tubi, and Prime Video? And there's your
Man,
answer.
that's awesome, man. I mean, those are the hidden gems that people need to hear, really need to understand. And I'm just going to ask this question because you brought it up. Um, if there's someone, whether they're watching this live now, they watch it on the playback, if they're streaming it and they hear this, down the road, I don't, not to put you in a place, but if they needed to reach out or if they needed somewhere to go to continue to follow up on this information, that you've given, what would you suggest that they do? Like, and again, I don't want, of course, I want people to go watch the show and I want them to follow along with what you're doing, but I also don't want them to inundate you with a million and one questions. But at the same time, this is a great service. This is knowledge that you're giving to people that we don't often get an opportunity one to hear and talk about.
Thank you.
So where would
Thank
you
you.
share or where would you suggest people go to get more information like that?
Well, two words: YouTube University.
Okay. Simple enough.
It is amazing how much stuff is on YouTube. It is amazing how much stuff you can learn off of YouTube. You can learn how to pitch a project. You can learn different distribution strategies. You can learn screenwriting techniques.
Hmm.
You can learn from a director's perspective how to direct actors, you can learn the more technical aspects of directing. YouTube University is, if you have a question about this stuff and YouTube is great too. Like myself who have their own channels YouTube, let's say they have 4 films up on Tubi, and some will keep it 100 with you, and they'll tell you like, oh yeah, here are my experiences with Tubi. Now, some people, will tell you their exact numbers, etc. But some people will tell you like, I had 2 films on Tubi, and this is what happened for me in a year. Or
Hmm.
I went with this distributor, and this happened, or this is what didn't happen. So, you have to be a research agent in this business. Whatever field that it is that you're into, whether it's acting, writing, producing, creating, show running, directing, you should just be a research agent all day, every day. Like this is the stuff that, should really kind of get your soul burning. Like you should be asking
Hmm.
every question. You should be Googling every question. Now you got Chat GPT, which I still don't really use it that much, but I certainly didn't have that for me to
Right.
learn a lot of the things that I learned. I mean,
Right.
now we can go to Chat GPT and apparently it can create a whole script for you. I mean, I wouldn't
It can do
advise
everything.
people to do that.
Right.
Right.
That part.
I wouldn't
That
advise
part.
people to do that because, yeah, you're not going to learn the essentials of screenwriting and formatting and storylines and acts and
Mhm.
climaxes in your acts so many different things that screenwriting. It's a very very tough genre. So please, people, yes, people can follow me on Instagram at Ronnel's Graham. So RONNELS underscore Graham 5. Just look up my websites as well. Ronnel Ricardo Parham. I'm on Facebook. Ronnel Ricardo Parham. Twitter as well. I'm on all those. I'm not on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn. Just kind of type in my name. I guess I'm very lucky in a sense to have a unique name. In fact, I've only met one other person in my life with the other name Ronnel. So, I'm pretty sure if people type in Ronnel Parham, not too many other people will come up. But I know for sure if you type in Ronnel Ricardo Parham, nobody else is coming up. So,
Mhm.
um, love to answer questions. People can hit me up on Instagram and DM me things, and I can answer as many as I can. But again, I've learned a lot of things 100% off YouTube. But of course, being in class, being in acting
Yeah.
class, and
Yeah.
I've learned the most from doing.
Yeah.
I've learned the most, I
Yeah.
repeat, I've learned the most from doing. There is
Yeah.
no school that can teach you how to be a producer. You are a producer because you get out there and you do the dang thing and you're in the trenches. Now, schools can teach you like what type of
Mm.
producing types there are, and you might be able
Right.
to find what type of producer works best for you.
Yeah.
Some producers they're segment producers. Some people may like to produce news content and those types of things. But if we're talking film and TV, there are some producers that like to do paperwork. They like to do budgets. They love
Right.
line producing. They love sitting in the trailer all day and making sure that everything is running smoothly and
Right.
everybody's on time and love doing paperwork and checking people out. There's producers like me who like to be on set looking at the monitors,
Yeah.
going into an actor's ear and
Yeah.
working with them. But you don't know these things until you're actually on a set
Actually doing it.
producing and figuring these things out and doing it. So,
Mhm.
that's the best teacher. That's my truly my best advice is the best way for you to learn all this stuff is to get out there and do it. You want to learn how to write and be a screenwriter, go write your stuff and then find like a little private Facebook group or a meetup group and start having other people read your scripts and hopefully
Mm.
they're nice and they're kind and they
That's a
can give
great
you
idea.
tips on formatting and they can give you tips
Great idea.
on how to structure your episodes or structure your short film. But you learn best by going out and doing these things. You want to start out as a director, go direct a scene. It could be you and another person now just shooting a self tape or shooting something for whatever. Go direct each other, or go direct other person, or go get two people, three people, and you put yourself in that position to go direct. And then you start directing one scene, two scenes, three
Mm.
scenes. Next thing you
Look at
know, you
that.
just directed a short film.
Yeah, yeah, just like that. I love that, man. I really appreciate you really taking the time to help educate, those, like I said, whether it be tonight, live on the playback, listening. These are the type of tools that we really need, and that's why I say I'm so honored, one, and proud to be able to bring this from someone who looks like me, that's really ventured in and is really going deep. And I do want to ask a question because there was you had another one, Class Act, that this is huge, that was if it was on the ballot for an Emmy nomination in 2019. Don't want to leave that out because that's a just to even have those words joined together is a huge thing. But what was that experience like, man? Like, how did it, you know how did it make Ronell feel? Like, what was any subsequent, like, hey, I'm making my mark. I'm starting to arrive. And really, did that kind of bleed into additional projects, that came after, like Odd Man and all of these other things? Like, what was that whole time period like for you?
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you asking that. Class Act was an amazing experience for us. It was fantastic for all of us because we had Eric Roberts on the set with us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember specifically, we were all doing a scene, we were all on the stage, and Eric pulled me to the side and he looked at me. He's like, "Man, if you aren't a movie star one day, then I don't know what I'm doing with myself."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh
Wow.
man, like
Wow.
I really appreciate that." And I always remember that he just kind of pulled me to the side and mentioned that. But again, this is the power of creating your own stuff, having a solid idea, building it, getting actors in it, getting somebody like Eric Roberts, and if you can afford Eric Roberts, of
Right,
course,
right, right.
and having him on your set, and then having him come over to you and say, like, dude, you're going to be a movie star one day. Like,
Awesome,
it's a fantastic feeling.
awesome.
Did I feel like I arrived? Like, yeah, I definitely felt like I arrived from a creator standpoint. That was my producing partner's project as well that he brought to me. Um, and he brought me a few different scripts on it, and then I had just given him some ideas and storylines and things. So he was the writer on that project. I served as executive producer. So again, I put up my own money, me and other people as well, but I put up my
Mhm.
own money to get that project going. Um, and yeah, we shot six mini episodes for that, and then we went through the process. That was my first process going through the FYC, the 4-year consideration
Really?
campaign
Okay.
that we call
Yeah. Uh-huh.
out here in LA when Emmy season comes around, and it just really opened my mind up to just the next level of indie creating in LA, where
Mhm.
you have your indie creators, and then you have your FYC people, your indie creators. And again, I didn't know that all this stuff was possible. Like at the time, they had just created the short form category for the Emmys, which is
Mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, and because they had it for a while, and then in the daytime Emmys, and then they let it
Let it go.
into prime time. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
they don't have that anymore. They
Right.
don't have that anymore
Right.
in the daytime.
Mhm.
I believe, yeah, all short form now was just moved to prime time, which
Prime time.
obviously is
Yep.
right is the biggest shows in the world. So
Mhm.
that was my first time. Like I remember vividly, we did, and there's some photos of it if you scroll down on my Instagram. But we were doing screenings of the project. We were kind of doing meet and greets where we would host Television Academy members, and people 1 or 2 episodes, and then people come out and be like a really informal mix and mingle kind of thing. But it was great to kind of be there, have people ask me about the show and my character and the storylines, and I realized the importance too of course, representing yourself on a high level, representing yourself well
Yes,
on a
sir.
high level. It's one thing to be an actor in these projects, and but you have to conduct yourself in the most professional manner possible, especially for people like us.
Yeah.
This business is the hardest business to get into in the world, I personally think. And then it's already, 3 times harder for us in the business
Yes,
to kind of
sir.
really get our legs and
Yes,
really
sir.
to establish things for ourselves.
Yes,
So
sir.
that experience really taught me the importance of like, oh, okay, this is how actors who have followings, like this is how they
Mhm.
behave. When
Yeah.
they go out in the public and they go out and they do meet and greets and they go do things, like they never get too drunk. They dress
Right.
professionally. They never eat too much. Like you never want to do too much. Like you always want to just stay professional, and you want to
Yeah.
represent yourself. You're
Yeah.
representing the show. You're representing 5R Productions. You're representing Television Academy. So that experience, taught me how, because I'd been around actors and I hung around them personally, and I'd been around actors at events, and I would
Right.
see the difference sometimes. Like, of course, when you hang around people and it's not a lot of people around, like, okay, they're more relaxed. You can talk about, you can
Yeah.
be more of like a homie with that person.
Right.
But the
Right.
moment other people get around and there's cameras and there's press, they know how to handle themselves. And of course, you
And
learn these things,
yeah.
but you
It's
learn
the
how
first
to
choice.
handle yourself around. Yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
Class Act was a phenomenal experience for us. First time getting a show on the Emmy ballot. Um, but it just taught me a lot. It taught me how to really be a professional actor.
Mm. Man, it's incredible. And right now I'm looking at the time. I mean, an hour goes by so fast when you're having great conversation and just really digging in. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, man, to really just open up and allow us into your world as to who you are. The person, the human being, the writer, the director, the actor, all of those things. But before we go, I'd be remiss in not asking, what's next for Ronnel Ricardo Parham, 5R Productions? is there anything that you can share that we can expect to see in the near future?
Oh man, I have so many things I would love
All
to
right.
share with you guys. But I it's one of those things where it learns to be professional in business. You never talk about anything until it's done.
Yeah.
You never talk about anything until you get the thumbs up from I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not, but you never know. You wait until you get the thumbs up from the studio or the production
Hallelujah.
company or whoever else is involved in things. One thing I will say is the next phase of my career, and I've been doing this now probably 13, 14 months, is film finance. So I have elevated and just studied this part of the business to now where I'm working on A-list projects. So I was talking to a buddy of mine a few months ago when I was visiting somewhere. I can't remember where I was, and something that was just kind of sticking in my head that weekend was like 15 years to A-list. And I relate that back to my journey. I've been in the business now for 15 years. I started in 2010. It is
Wow.
now 2025. And probably for the last year now, I get 5 to 10 A-list projects that come across my desk. And these aren't just coming across my desk just to like, oh, look at these projects. Like, this is cool. Like, these are coming to my desk because people respect me, because people know the connections that I have, because people know that I understand the film finance world. Um, and people believe that I can get their projects to the next level. So, however, it doesn't matter how you, in my mind, it doesn't matter how you get the A-list, right? And that
Yeah.
may not even be people's goals. I know a lot of
Right.
people who do not have those goals, and that's totally fine. My goal in starting out was to be A-list. Whether that was at the time, of course, I was thinking it would be acting, and who's to say it can't still be acting?
Right.
But right now, I can tell you, it's certainly A-list producing, and I won't say any more than that. But um, that is certainly the next phase and the next part of things that I've been doing. So, my grand plan is not to give away too much, but is to associate myself with projects that I can bring under the 5R Productions logo and brand. Maybe one day down the road, little old me can create a little studio somewhere. But in order for
All
me to
right.
do that, I have to have a track record of projects, and I have to have a track record of projects that perform well theatrically, that perform well in the box office, that
Yeah.
perform well on AVOD, that perform well in streaming.
Mm.
Um, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm building that foundation. It's like I'm doing it in phases, right? I've began the foundation of creating my own stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm potentially in the position to add fuel to the fire for other people's stuff.
Mm. Mm.
Um, but I think that will do for me is that'll bring me back full circle to now being able to continue to create my own stuff, but I'm going to be creating my own stuff at the highest level in the business.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm a firm believer, Ronnel, that from your mouth to God's ear, you got to
There
put
it
that
is.
energy into the universe for these things to happen. So just speaking it into existence is the first step. You've already been putting the action in motion, and like you said, time flies. And before you know, 15 years have gone by, and you may be doing it in a different arena, not the arena that you thought, but it's not to say that it can't still happen in the other. So I want to
Yep.
thank you because that's the type of energy that we need, especially in times like these that we're living in today. Someone is going to hear this. It may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but your words and your energy that's in the universe may spark something in them to go out and find what it is
Hope
that
so.
they're called to do. And that's what really what
I
Two
hope
Mics
so.
Up is all about. Yeah, and look, this is what I'm most proud of, to be able to sometimes you sit and you talk with people and you hear things that you need to hear. You need that energy for not only yourself, but for someone else. And it's
Right.
it's really important that we keep this type of dialogue. Yes, Don. Yeah, proud of Ronnel. Just keep grinding. And that's really what it's all about. And it'll take them to the next level. So Ronnel, before we go, I know you had gave your social media again. We'll make sure that we put it all again in the show notes. But please go ahead and give it one more time before we go. I want to make sure that everybody gets behind you. Go check out Odd Man Out. Go check out Class Act. Go check out his IMDb page because this man has got so much work. It's ridiculous, and you need to go out and support it. But take a moment, please, and share that information. Like I said, we'll throw it in the show notes.
For sure. Now, Damon, thank you so much for this and for this opportunity, really to allow me to keep chasing my dreams and me continuing to chase my dreams, I find is just helping others. Um, that's what this is all about. Like it doesn't make sense to me unless I can bring people with me, unless I can help other people. So I to do that in all of my shows and all of the projects that I'm associated with. So, right now we have the first two episodes of Odd Man Out still available on Tubi. Mini episodes are still available on Prime, but you guys got to buy those. So show me some love. If not, it's all good. Go to Tubi. It's good. I'm still going to, recoup it. So it's all love. Um, my website, RonnelRParham.com, 5R-productions.com. I have a lot of stuff that I would love to share with your audience, but I will certainly be putting that not just into the universe, it'll be online very soon. But, I'm on Instagram as well at Ronnel Graham 5. Twitter, you could just put in my name, Ronnel R. Parham. Facebook, Ronnel Ricardo Parham. Um, and I think those are all of my social media outlets right now. Yeah, check out Class Acts for sure. We need to find another home for Class Acts, so we're working on that. Um, but again, this has been a pleasure. I'm super excited to be on platforms like this, and this is truly my dream, and this is truly my journey. And I'll see everybody at the Emmys.
Hey, look, that's what I'm talking about, brother. That's how we do it. I couldn't have said it any better, ladies and gentlemen. Go out, check this brother out. Ronnel Ricardo Parham, filmmaker, writer, producer, multi-award winning actor and director, founder of 5R Productions. Check him out. Take some time to do some research, really get to know him. Like I said, go out and support. Support means it goes a long way. And I don't care if you have to do it by word of mouth, because that still works. Carrier pigeon, email, Gmail, social media. This is your opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and get behind the movement, man. He's a class act. He's a fine gentleman. And like I said, I am honored and proud to be able to share some time with you and share some space with you on our platform. Ronnel, it has been an exciting and extremely great conversation. I really thank you, brother, for taking the time out tonight.
Thank you. No, thank you so much, Damon. Platforms like this, it really gives creators and artists and people, whatever it is that they're doing, you're giving them spotlight to to feel themselves a bit, but to really be proud of themselves. And the fact that you took the time to watch my stuff and look into me and have me on the show, I really appreciate it. And to the audience out there, the next 7 episodes of Odd Man Out are coming. They're in the oven. I'm about to go take them out the oven, and they're dope. And you guys will be really really surprised at where the story goes, and I think you'll be really surprised at my episodic television directorial debut. So thank you again, Damon, and two mics up. It's all love. Whenever you need me again, I'm around.
Hey, it's the opposite, brother. Whenever you ready to come back and you want to talk about anything and everything, you part of the family now. Nothing but an email, phone call, whatever you want. You're always welcome to come back. We'd love to have you to come on and continue talking about your next steps and your next projects. You're always welcome here, brother. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All love.
All love, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. Another episode, Two Mics Up Live. I know we've been going for a minute. It's a long season 8. I mean, we've been doing this 5 years, 8 seasons. A little tired, needed a little break, but we're working on things. We got some things cooking in the oven, and we're gonna bring them to you shortly as we revamp and reschedule season 9. But you can still check us out Tuesday night on our Tuesday 2 mics up Tuesday Blitz with my partner Sam Adams as we talk everything sports and entertainment. We get a little wild. So if you're into sports, you want to check us out every other Tuesday night. Come on, check us out on the Tuesday Blitz. And I just want to say thank you all. It's been an incredible ride, an incredible journey. I really appreciate those of you in the woods. I see you. I see you everywhere. And I want to thank you for just tuning in, supporting. And like we do at the end of each and every show, I'm going to leave you with a couple of things. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007.